So how big would the lead have to be for you to feel comfortable with it? There is no amount of runs that will ever make me feel comfortable again. Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Astros, and I'm here to talk about Game 85 of the regular season, where the Astros win 12-11 over the Texas Rangers, and win 3 of the 4 in Arlington, closing the gap of the division to 3 games. What on God's earth? The combination of Jose Abreu and Chas McCormick single-handedly prevented one of the greatest meltdowns this channel has ever seen, and we'll get to that in due time. But before we get to that, there is 1,000 other things to talk about before that even crosses into the realm of relevancy. To start with, right, early in this game, second inning of this game, the Astros punch through. They break through Martin Perez. They put up a big tilted number in the second inning. Chas McCormick homers. 1-0 Astros. Chas McCormick, who has damn near, in this series alone, more than proven the fact that he should be an everyday starter for this team and that he has every right to remain on this team and should not be a bartering chip to throw around wherever they please. This is a player that you put on your team, that you want to have there to sturdy a position for years to come. I put the poll up on the channel earlier in the community tab. Overwhelming votes for player A. It was McCormick versus Tucker. I was not saying that to sell down Kyle Tucker. I was doing that to build up Chas McCormick, who has legitimately been having a very, very good under-the-radar season in center field, when he's there, at least, for the Astros this season, but has been criminally underused in center. This is a 162 pace, 4-WAR guy. You go hunting for players like that, and the Astros have been gifted him, and they don't want to start him. It's insane, but that is not even the point. We're not even going to dive into that yet, but he homers, the Astros have a 1-0 lead. Then, Yainer Diaz homers, the Astros have a 2-0 lead. Fantastic. And Kyle Tucker, the other outfielder, another great young outfielder, homers. Not just a homer, a grand slam, and it is 6-0 after the second inning for Houston. Leody Taveras homers in the third inning to make it a 6-2 game, but the Astros are completely unfazed as the War Machine rolls on into the fourth inning. Alex Bregman with an RBI single. It's 7-2, and Jose Abreu, who has been on fire since the start of June, been one of the top producers the past month and some change for the Astros, counting the first few days of this month. He's been unbelievable. OPS, I believe, over 900 for those 2 months. He's been unreal. 3-run shot. It is 10-2 Houston. And at that moment, when the Astros made it 10-2, every Astros fan felt 20 feet tall. Every player and coach, I would assume, felt 30 feet tall. Right? On top of the world. Because you walk into Arlington, you take 2 of the first 3, and then now, in the 4th game of the series, after the 4th inning, right, heading into the bottom of the 4th, with one of your best pitchers on the mound for the Astros, you take a 10-2 lead over the Rangers, who are supposed to be an unstoppable force, and we're supposed to finally knock you off the pedestal of Big Brother, and you've walked in to close out the series, and through 4 innings, 4 times at the plate, wiped your feet on their face to put up double-digit runs before the 5th. That was almost the story arc of this game. Was how good the Astros get to feel about themselves, finishing this game with an absolute ass-kicking. But then, in the bottom of the 4th inning, Travis Jankowski homers. It's 10-5. That's not wonderful. And at that point, I think a lot of people thought, it's probably time to pull Christian Javier, because he ain't looking so hot. He's given up 5 runs through 4 innings. He is trotted back out there for a 5th inning of work, which we now know was, in fact, a huge mistake, because it just keeps going. Adolis Garcia singles, 10-6. And that was the moment that I think everyone started to sweat a bit more. Because, the 8-run lead, yeah, this game is totally over with. 5-run lead, you're still feeling pretty darn confident. But then all of a sudden it's only 4 runs, and there's still men on. And you start to really do the math in your head, and you're like, the guy in the hole could potentially be a tying run. That isn't wonderful. And then Jankowski, again, singles. And then all of a sudden now, it's 10-8. It's only a 2-run lead. And now you're really starting to not feel good. And Taveras grounds out, but it's a productive one. A run trots home, and all of a sudden, just a couple innings after you take that commanding 10-2 lead, it's a 1-run game. And now we need to talk about the elephant in the room, which is Christian Javier. I really like Christian Javier. I really do. We clearly have seen that his stuff can play. I don't know what happened, but he has looked like a totally different pitcher than last year. He doesn't have that confidence. He doesn't have that personality, the bubbly Christian Javier that we all fell in love with for the first few years of his career. That seemingly just isn't there this season. And I don't know what happened. But you look at him now, you're into July, his ERA is over 4. And I know it was, under 4 today. This did a lot of damage to that ERA. It was still in the high threes. I think it was 3.8 entering today's game. And this was supposed to be like the big test of the season of like, yeah, it's been super rocky to this point. But this is, this has the setting to be that turnaround game for Javier. You go into Texas, you go into Arlington, your big ace is down for the count right now. Framber had to miss a start. And you throw Javi out there to hopefully take a commanding series over the Rangers and just simply polish off the final game. And his final line is 8 runs, all earned in 4 1/3 innings. He gave up 10 hard hit balls. It wasn't that he was getting unlucky. They were smoking him. And the good thing is, and we're not even going to have the conversation of is he, cooked? Is he a bad player? That's not happening. You have a lot of years of cheap control over Javier. And so, worst case scenario, you had to punt this season. You still have a lot of cheap control over this player, who I truly think will bounce back. But 2023 Christian Javier is not it. So now, because life is fun, the cool, comfortable cliff of a lead that the Astros had has turned into a very, very thin knife edge of a 1-run lead, trailing into the latter part of this game. 7th inning happens. Adolis Garcia homers. The game is tied. It's tied. It is tied. A game that you had a 10-2 lead, and I need to keep hammering that home, is gone. You had an 8-run lead with one of your better pitchers on the mound. And it gone. And then the 8th inning happens. And there's a bad throw by Bregman. You can't have an error like that in that situation. You just can't. You just can't do that. Moves him. And then a ground out. Or a sac fly, pardon me. A sac fly by Kyle Seager. And the 10-run lead is not only gone, it's now buried. Because the Rangers have somehow taken a lead in this game. And I was completely speechless when that happened. Because how in the hell did we get to that point? Where I was staring holes through my computer screen, seeing the 10-2 lead be gone like that. And just how was it physically possible? And my train of thought racing at 1,000 miles an hour of all the things I was going to lay into the team for. And despite the fact that there is quite a bit of negative to go over with this game, that I've already covered quite a bit of, the positive is that even in a dark game like this, the Astros found who they are and who they were, who they have been, which is the fighters. They don't get down on themselves. Because, at that point, you now enter the top of the 9th inning. You've blown a 10-2 lead to your division rival who leads you, who've come into your metaphorical house as far as the division lead and taken it from you during your title defense season. And after that happens, and you're already trailing them by quite a few games this season in the division, and then you cough up the 10-2 lead, the early season Astros, I firmly believe, lose this game. The late March, April, May Astros, they lose this game. No question in my mind, they lose it. They go on the 10th inning, they probably go 1-2-3. They don't have any fight, they just want to duck and cover, get the hell out of Arlington. But they have, once more, found who they are. Kyle Tucker, leadoff single to get a base runner aboard. Kyle Tucker, who had an unbelievable career game today. 4 for 4, 3 runs scored, a double and the grand slam with 4 RBI. Unbelievable afternoon for Kyle Tucker. Alex Bregman flies out. But even that I can find a positive in. Because yeah, it was an out. That's not wonderful. But that was a deep out. That was a loud out. That was a well-struck out for Alex Bregman. This was not the early season's Astros, who, down on themselves, would just kind of swing at anything, strike out swinging, look silly, meaningless little ground ball or a double play to just kill the momentum. No. They were not going to go quietly in this game. So Bregman, again, gets a hold of one, but it's an out. Okay, whatever. You have one out in the inning now. Jose Abreu steps up to the plate. Deep double. Tucker on his horse ran as fast as I have ever seen him run, all the way first to home. The Astros, unbelievably, having to come back in this game, but they do, and they tie it in the top of the ninth. But on account that their extra inning streak has been pretty terrible this season, they would really like to get this done in regulation. Up steps Chas McCormick. Chas clutch McCormick. Chas ice in his veins McCormick. Chas McCormick double RBI. The Astros somehow having to retake a lead. It is 12-11. And then the bottom of the ninth, Ryan Pressly comes in, gets a strikeout, and the Astros, despite coughing up an 8-run lead, win. So, the offense was great. They scored 12 runs in this game. I think that goes without saying that the offense was fantastic. The problem today was the pitching, specifically the starting pitching. But the highlights, Kyle Tucker with the 4 for 4 game. Again, I already said that. Probably the best game Kyle Tucker has played offensively. Offensively in a win, because he did have the 2 homers in the World Series, but you know. He was fantastic with the grand slam. Jose Abreu with 4 RBI as well. The home run, the double to tie the game. He was fantastic with a pair of base hits. Chas McCormick with the homer, the double, pair of RBIs. He was fantastic. Corey Julks had a pair of base hits. Again, the offense was very, very not the problem today. They scored 12 runs. Obviously, they did well. It was the pitching. And, look, Javi was not good. We've already gone over that. Maton wasn't great, but again, that inning had already completely fallen off the rails. There was no salvaging it at that point. Stanek was solid. Took him 17 pitches to get through an inning without any strikeouts or anything, but hey, it was fine. It was a scoreless inning, which was a hot commodity today for the Astros. Neris gave up the home run, but again, it was one blip on the radar. I'm not going to say that Neris is having a bad season or anything. It was one blip in a game that should not have gotten to the point where one singular blip caused that big of a problem, but regardless, Abreu's run wasn't earned. It was the error by Bregman, and Ryan Pressly looked good in his inning. Again, I think Pressly might have found his juju, because now all of a sudden that ERA is creeping back down. It's at 2.65, which is pretty darn respectable. And the Astros win. There's negative in the game. There's a lot of negative, coughing up the lead, the pitching being a question mark, but we're going to throw all of that away, because what did I say after the Dodgers game? Right, the big bad Dodgers loss. After Ryan Stanek got himself tossed, after he had the blow up at the ump, I said, I just want to see this team show anywhere near that level of passion, that level of fire in their gut for this team, to show that they care, to not quit. They did not quit today. Was it the prettiest win? No, not even close. But they didn't quit, they didn't get down on themselves, and they gritted it out in the ninth inning to get the win. And that is all we can ask them for, is to find ways to win games. Those are the Astros that we have loved watching the past 6 years, the ones that find the way to win. And today, despite everything, they found a way to come back and win in the ninth inning. So the Astros play again tomorrow. New series. They get to head to Minute Maid for a 2-game little mini stint against the Colorado Rockies. First game tomorrow, 4:10 Eastern, 3:10 Central on the 4th of July. Happy Independence Day ahead of time, everybody. I'll probably be very late on that video watching fireworks, but that's beside the point. The Rockies will send Kyle Freeland to the mound, and the Astros will send Brandon Bielak to the mound. I will be here again very later on afterward to talk about it, but as for right now, I think that's all I have to say. So if you enjoyed the video, please consider to like and subscribe. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day, and as always, go Astros.